Where the men's 10,000-meter run is underway. They have 6 laps remaining in this race, and with 6 remaining, Paul Koech of Kenya leads the race, just in front of the pre-race favorite Haile Gebrselassie. Then Paul Turgot, another Kenyan, Salahisu of Morocco, and Domingos Castro of Portugal. There's Koech of Kenya and Haile Gebrselassie, the highly regarded favorite in this race, running 1-2 now with 5.5 laps remaining. And at this point, we're
one after the other. I think that needs to go from an indoor season to a collegiate season to an outdoor season in the States and an outdoor European and championship season. We're starting to lay the groundwork for that for next year.
That'll be a good first step. And I know our panel here is ready to grill you, including Dan O'Brien, who probably has a question from an athlete standpoint as we continue to watch the race. Dan, do you have a question for Craig?
Oh, absolutely. Craig, you know, a lot of people have been waiting for this move to happen for a very long time. And, you know, from the athlete's point of view, what does this mean for us? Does it mean a better meet schedule? Does it mean you're going to put everybody on salary? Does it mean a pension plan? This is, I think, a question that a lot of track and field athletes and even the fans of the United States really want to know. It's a little broad-based, I know.
Well, first of all, it means that USA Track and Field is now open to ideas, open for business, and open for change. What all of that adds up to is this is an organization that wants to hear from the athletes, that wants to work with the athletes, that wants to partner with the athletes to take the sport back to where it should be, back to the golden era of the 60s and the 70s. And it means all of the things that you asked. There's no reason why athletes shouldn't have a pension plan. There's no reason why there shouldn't be guaranteed minimums for participation in meets and prize money that goes 8 deep in major meets. Everything is possible when people work together. We just haven't had the vision to see where we can go and chart a plan to get there.
All right, thank you.
Michael?
Craig, I'm very happy that you're in the position, and I think it does carry a little weight. But the question I'd have for you is, as far as the elite athletes and their involvement in the marketing of the sport, which I've felt a long time and have offered my services in the past, and particularly after the Olympics last year, how do you plan to get the elite athletes, the Jackie Joyner-Kerseys and the new Marion Jones and Maurice Greens involved in the marketing of the sport so that the American public can identify with these people and that can help carry the sport?
Well, I think that our elite athletes are our greatest asset. You know, in other sports, the athletes question whether they should be role models at all. Our athletes want to be role models and should be. There's no more interesting, intelligent, educated, and articulate group of athletes in any sport. I'll put our athletes up against anybody. When I talked to Dennis Mitchell and when I talked to you about what we need to do to move the sport forward, both of you said the same thing. You said that the organization, USA Track and Field, needs to be as professional and successful as the athletes already are, and you both said you'd do something very important. When we go and call on the sponsors of today and the sponsors of the future, you said you wanted to be right there to be part of the sales team. Nothing would send a better message to potential sponsors than having the athletes involved, than that this is a sport that wants to go forward together. Think of the basketball situation, the NBA situation, back in the 70s when there was a lot of bickering and arguing between the players in the league. Once both of them got on the same page, basketball moved forward with tremendous growth in the 80s. Track can do the same in the late 90s.
Carol?
Well, Craig, you know, I was around in the late 70s and the 80s when track and field was a big sport. I think one thing we've seen over the past 10 years, 15 years, is how USA Track and Field has lost sponsor after sponsor. And I think that's really hurting our sport. How are you guys going about getting new sponsors? Are you trying to contact some of our old sponsors, such as Mobil Oil, for example?
Well, first of all, the good news is I haven't even had to go out and contact sponsors. They've been calling me. I think everybody has to sit down and realize that just because there's a change of leadership doesn't mean there's necessarily a change. But I think we've tried to get the message out that we are open to change and ready to change. And most importantly, that we're going to be a service-oriented organization. We are a service organization. I work for the athletes. I work for the 7.5 million people who go out and run road races on weekends, and I work for the sponsors. And I think if we have a service orientation, that if we consider the first day of a new sponsorship, the first day that we're trying to sell or extend that sponsor on a new sponsorship, we're going to do a lot better with the sport.
Haile Gebrselassie has just taken the lead in the 10,000 from Paul Koech and really accelerates now, coaching the bell lap. Gebrselassie in front. Dwight Stones, would you like to come in and join us just for old time's sake? We'll put Craig to work here.
Well, Gebrselassie certainly has just been biding his time throughout this entire race. The race pace has been very, very slow, working right into his hands. I can't imagine anyone, Craig, having the ability to catch Gebrselassie at this point in the race with just a little less than a lap to go.
And the runner following Paul Turgott certainly doesn't have the kind of turnover that Gebrselassie does. What an outstanding runner. And the only hope these guys would have had, I think, would have been to run the race to its limit, to run the race as an honest 10,000-meter race. The heat obviously worked against that, went out in 14 minutes at the 5,000 meters. Gebrselassie really didn't want to be here, really questioned whether he should run on such a hard track. But he came, he's the world record holder in the event, the Olympic titleist in the event, and he put on a good show for the crowd.
Gebrselassie sprinting for the finish line. Turgott of Kenya will finish second, and Hissou of Morocco will be third. Here's Gebrselassie to win 27:24.58. And Craig, 1991, my first track and field, you and Dwight got me through a rough start. You bailed me out of many such situations over the years. Best of luck in your new endeavor, and thanks for all you've done in the past.
Well, thanks very much. I hope you'll come bail me out in some tough situations as I move forward.
Haile Gebrselassie wins the 10,000 meters and is the world champion from Athens. And will return to Athens, Greece, and the World Championships for the conclusion of the decathlon in just a moment.